It is fine now.
Sir, am I audible? Can you just confirm?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
थोड़ा सा 1.5-2 घंटे की बात, उसके बाद कुछ भी कर लेना।
So welcome everyone to this second session of this faculty development program on energy engineering. Today we have with us Professor Gajendra Singh. Having born in a small village in western UP in January 1954, Professor Singh did his BTech in electrical engineering from University of Roorkee, now IIT Roorkee, in 1976. He also graduated in aeronautical engineering from Air Force Technical College, Bangalore in December 1977. He did his MTech from IIT Kharagpur and PhD from IIT Delhi. He has an illustrious career in Indian Air Force as an aviation engineer, where he was honored with Vishisht Seva Medal by President of India for outstanding performance. After serving Indian Air Force for 28 long years, in 2004, he moved into academic field. He served at Krishna Institute of Engineering and Technology, Ghaziabad for 10 years in the capacity of Dean and Additional Director and Director. After that, he served Shada University, Greater Noida, as Associate Dean of School of Engineering and Technology. He has served as Director ABES Engineering College, Ghaziabad till December 2018, where he superannuated at the age of 65. His area of research interests are power system protection, solar, thermal, photovoltaic, and industrial motors. He has published nearly 65 research publications in national and international journals of repute. He has supervised 21 MTech dissertations and 1 PhD. 3 research scholars are currently pursuing their research under his guidance. Professor Singh has also been closely associated with value education in institutions of higher learning. He was instrumental in introducing a course in the area of value education and ethics in the School of Engineering and Technology while serving at Shada University. Since 2018, he holds the appointment of Dean, Value Education of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University, Lucknow. Currently, he is also engaged with AICT as a part of national team for training the director, dean, faculty members of various engineering universities and affiliated colleges located across all the states of the country in the area of value education. I will request Professor Singh to please enlighten us why there is a need for shift from skill to value-guided skill. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rajanji. Thank you very much for a very elaborated introduction. I know this faculty development program is all about technology. But if we really look back last 30 to 40 years, a lot of technological development has taken place all across the globe. But have we really have moved towards the holistic development where each one of us is able to live with peace, harmony, continued happiness, and prosperity? That is what is a question, because everywhere, whether it is an engineering college or any other professional institute or the Institute of Higher Learning, we are talking about skilling our students, or for that matter, what you are going through this process of Atal FDP, it is skilling the teachers. So this skilling is basically only to produce or earn more or acquire more physical facility, or it is to bring and invest high degree of happiness with continuity and bring in the feeling of prosperity among the human beings. So this is what is the essence of the talk today. For next 90 odd minutes, I will be speaking, and then I'll take certain questions. Friends, from the time immemorial, the education has been the important part of the living of the human race. And if we really see, in July, in fact, to be precise, 28 July last year, but just about 5.5 months ago, the national government issued the National Education Policy 2020, NEP 2020. The cover page diagram is shown here. Now, very first statement of this document is projected here. The education is fundamental for achieving full human potential, developing an equitable and just society, and promoting national development. So these are very important words and phrases which have been put in the very first sentence of this policy, that full human potential. Full human potential means that are we working at lesser potential? We need to explore this. And then are we reaching towards anywhere equitable and just society by spending huge amount of our lifespan only for education? Look at it, like the participants of this particular program. What could be the averages? I presume it will be around 32 to 35 years. That's average, or maybe little higher or lower. But after having spent something like 15 to 18 years only on education, most of you are having the engineering graduation degree and post-graduation degree. Many of you must have spent on your doctoral degrees also. So after having spent 15 years, 18 years, 20 years only on education, which was basically to exploit this human potential and develop this equitable and just society, where are we? There is a need to assess it. There is a need to evaluate it. So are we moving through this education in right direction, or certain level of correction is necessary? That is what is the essence of what I'm going to speak. So friends, if we really see from the time immemorial, when lakhs of years ago the human race started evolving, the one thing was always at the center of its mind, that it kept working for happiness and prosperity. Prosperity relates to facilities, and happiness is how do I feel. That is what the aspiration with which the human being had been evolving from various stages. Now, if this is what was the basic human aspiration, the simple identification, just identifying this aspiration is not enough. We need to know how to fulfill this aspiration and how to go about actualizing our goals. So generally, we tend to pursue our goals in a variety of ways. As per, we keep on making experiments, learning from these, and accordingly improving our understanding. And this has been happening in various stages of our evolution. This is how the human being had been moving on right from the primitive Stone Age to the present day world of modern science and technology. So the complete understanding of the values or the human values gives us a definite way to fulfill our aspiration, because as we see, basically all of us are aspiring to be happy, and whatever appears conducive to our happiness becomes valuable to us. So values form the very basic for all our thoughts, our behaviors, all our actions, or for that matter, all our participation in the larger order, whether it is with other human beings, or it is with the nature, or it is with the animal kingdom as well. So once we have known what is valuable to us, these values become the basis, the anchor for our actions. We know that what we are doing is right, and it will lead to fulfillment of our this basic aspiration, what I just mentioned, that continuous happiness and prosperity. So friends, I have certain questions here. Let's explore. Most of my talk is going to be in the form of puzzles only, and it's going to be many times the questions are going to put up to the participants. So, do we want to be happy? Do we want to be prosperous? And do we want the continuity of these two things, the happiness and the prosperity? This is the desire. What we want to be. Do we want to be happy? Do we want to be prosperous? And do we want continuity of this happiness and prosperity? Now, if answer is yes, if I would have been offline in front of you, I would have sought the answers from you. But then it is a matter of exploration. You verify at your own level. In all probability, the answer will come yes. So if the answer is yes, the next question is, are we happy? Are we prosperous? And is there a continuity of this happiness and prosperity in our lives after spending so much of time in education for skilling us? So are we happy or are we prosperous? More than 50% of the lifespan of all of us who are of course, exclude me from that, but majority of you have spent more than 50% time only on acquiring skills through education. But are you happy? Are you prosperous? And is there a continuity of this? So now, why, if there is a gap, then why this gap between our desire and our state of being? Between what we really want to be and what we are. Why there is a gap? So what are we doing to fill this gap? If this gap exists, then is it getting filled up, or decade after decade, or year after year, or month after month, or week after week? Is it this gap is getting filled, or it is getting wider and wider? Ask yourself, explore yourself, and seek answers from within. Is it widening year after year, or it is coming closer? It is that what we want and what we are. The gap between the two statements, two answers, is widening over a period of time gradually with all that advent of technology where our focus is today. A lot of advancement is going on, and we keep talking every month, every week, and last 10 months, how many platforms for online workshops we have developed, how many new skills we acquired, so that we remain connected. This is all technology. So we are taking the help of technology, all right. But then this 30, 40, 50 years or 100 years of revolution of industry, evolution of technology, where it is leading. For example, take an example of a mobile phone through which I am connected now, because today somehow my Airtel has deceived. They confirmed that it is not, the net is not going to be available for the day. This was basically meant for communication. You return back home after your institution. There are 4 members in the family and there are 4 phones. How much is the level of communication? And Look at when you were a young child and parents were coming back, what was the level of communication among the family members? Today, a 2-year-old or 4-year-old toddler also consumes meals while some screen is in front of him or her. That is the advancement in technology. It was meant for communication, of course. I appreciate the development. No, at no stage I'm saying that development is to be stopped. But when we say right utilization of all these gadgets, car are good, but car be taken from one place to the other of the human body. But when it is being used only for showbiz, fine. If you have the money, do that showbiz. But if you understand the objective of the vehicle, then if you have more, then the brand becomes immaterial and that more can be shared with others. Anyway, I will come to that point later. So let's talk of these two aspirations. Because there is a lot of element of doubt. Many of you who had been exposed to the workshops on this human values, which is being taken forward since last 11 years in UPT or now AKTU, may be exposed to it, but many of you who are now then for those who have already gone through it or who have taught this subject, it's some kind of a refining it or revising it for that matter. So when we say the basic aspiration of a human being right from good old days had been to be in a state of continuous happiness and prosperity. So let's understand what exactly does it mean, these two words, the happiness and the prosperity. So the view file shows the happiness is the state or situation in which I live. If there is a harmony, synergy in it, then it is naturally acceptable to me to be in that state or situation. That means any condition, any situation, any event in which there is a synergy, there is a harmony, there is no opposition, there is no conflict, there is no argument, there is no fight, then it is naturally acceptable to me and I don't mind to be in that kind of a situation or state in which there is a harmony, there is a synergy for any amount of time, for any amount of duration. Friends, to be in that kind of a state or situation which is naturally acceptable to me, that is what is defined as happiness. That is what, because it provides me the peace within. That is what is happiness. Because I can continue to remain in that kind of state forever, where there is a harmony, there is a synergy, there is no agitation, there is no opposition, there is no conflict, there is no resentment, there is no fear. That kind of situation gives me the happiness. I will come to one very important word. What is being mistaken as happiness? Short-lived excitement. That's a different thing altogether. I will dwell upon it, but this is my proposal for you to examine at your own level, that what is happiness is to be in a state of harmony within. When you do not have inside you any kind of opposition or opposing thoughts or opposing desires or any kind of fear, any kind of conflict, any kind of agitation within, that is the state of happiness. Because if there is a harmony, there is a synergy, I can continue to be there for endless time. Now, on the other side, let's look at this unhappiness that's contrary to it. A situation where there is no harmony means there is a disharmony, there is a conflict, there is an opposition. And I'm forced to stay in that kind of state where the thoughts are agitated, where there is a position inside me, there is some kind of agitation going on, and I'm forced to be in that kind of situation to stay. That is what provides me the unhappiness. So whenever I am in this kind of state where within me there is a feeling of agitation, the thoughts of opposition, thoughts of resentment, thoughts of fear, thoughts of anger, this is because these are not naturally acceptable to me. Now take an example. You have some serious argument with your colleague, with your peer, or for that matter, with a family member. after some time, you are exhausted because you cannot continue dating situation forever. So after some time, you cool down and you just take a walk or stroll outside the home or get into some work, or for example, inside in your department in the college, some heated argument has taken place, and after exchanging the agitating thoughts with each other, one of you, why wants to disengage and walks away to the cafeteria for disengaging from the situation, because that situation is not naturally acceptable to me. I want to come out of it as quickly as possible because this is not naturally acceptable to me. So, to be forced to be in a state or situation which is not naturally acceptable to me, that is what is unhappiness. So, the disharmony is synonym to unhappiness, while harmony is synonym to happiness. Now, the next word, prosperity. Prosperity is not possession. It has got nothing to do what kind of bank balance or gadgets or equipment or which size of house you have or which brand car you own or what is your salary package or what kind of physical facilities you possess. It is merely the feeling of having more than required. Means, for example, I have 6 shirts, and these shirts I use one every weekday, and Sunday I wash them, iron them, and restart using it. So if I happen to get one shirt as a gift from my daughter, for example, then the oldest shirt I pass it on to some other needy person, maybe a gardener or maybe a sweeper. Because for me, I have got the assessment and evaluation that 6 shirts are more than sufficient for me. So when I have this feeling that I have more than required physical facility, that is what is feeling of prosperity. So I can ask one question to each one of you. Many of us carry mobile phones, or rather say nowadays every professional carries a mobile phone with him. Many of us carry 2 mobile phones. Sometimes I have seen 3 mobile phones also. I have seen it with my students. But tell me, are these mobile phones required in limited number or in unlimited number? Can you ever imagine somebody having 50 mobile phones and manage the life? So any material which is useful for me to fulfill my needs, is it required in limited quantity or unlimited quantity? Do I need 1 house, 2 house, 5 house, or 5,000 houses, or 5 lakh houses? Do I need how many clothes? Are they limited or unlimited? This limit may vary from one person to the other, and that can be decided. But once decided, and when I acquire that, that feeling is prosperity. But if I have, for example, there are cases in our own country that the family members having more than lakhs of crores as their assets were fighting in the court for 20,000 crore case. I haven't seen a crore as of now. So it means the feeling is that if I get these 20,000 crores more, I will be prosperous. But if you do not have this feeling, till then, what will be the feeling? It will be deprivation. Daridrata ka bhav. Because prosperity is samriddhi. I will feel prosperous only when I get 20,000 crore more, so I already have 5 lakh crores with me. It means you are still living with the feeling of deprivation. That is what is the prosperity. So prosperity is not in being wealthy or rich. It is merely a feeling in me. It is not the brand of the car, brand of the mobile, or the size of the house, or the type of the exclusive clothes I wear. No. Clothes are meant to protect the body. That's it. Fine. So now we can understand this basic human aspirations once again. I go back to the very initial slide that basic human aspiration is to be in a state of continuous happiness and prosperity, where happiness is to be in a state of harmony and prosperity is the feeling, I re-emphasize feeling of having more than required physical facility. It is not the quantum of physical facility. It is not the quantity of the physical facility. It is the feeling of having more than required physical facility. And this more is, you have put a limit because every single thing is required in a limited quantity only. Every physical facility, a table, chair, house, mobile phones, car, your laptop, how many printers would you require? One or two. Laptop, one or two. That is what. So you decide for yourself, and once you acquire that, that gives you the feeling of prosperity. Well, now let's explore these questions also. Do we want to be happy? Do we want to be prosperous? Do we want the continuity of happiness, prosperity? We said, or we investigate. When we investigate, we find the answers to all these three questions is yes. If that is so, where does our effort go? When I said that there is a gap between what I want and what I am, where is the effort for investment of time and energy? Is there effort for continuity of happiness and prosperity, or just for accumulation of physical facility? So have we assumed that happiness and prosperity will be ensured when we have enough physical facility? What effort are we making other than accumulating the physical facility? Just ask a simple question. Many of you or most of you must have been a family member, the married spouse must be already. So an argument between the two spouses in a family is generally due to size of the refrigerator or the size of the TV or the washing machine, brand of the washing machine, or it is due to lack of feeling in relationship. That is what can be explored. So physical facility, that fridge, the TV, the washing machine, there's so many other gadgets, they're all, or the car, they're all physical facilities. So is generally the argument or the conflict is because of these reasons or due to paucity of feelings in relationship? That can be explored. So what is the effort to bring that harmony? Because if our aspiration is to be in a state of happiness, means to be in a state of harmony. So why this argument, conflict and agitation? Even in me alone, when I am driving, are my thoughts in harmony? Or they are all agitated? Why this man, today the head of the department or the director, he called me in his office and made an allegation that this is what I did wrong while I was never involved in it. Somebody wrongly gave input about me, and so what is happening? The thoughts which are taking place is thoughts of resentment. Ek din mera bhi aayega, main dekh lunga. So this inner dialogue which is going on while driving your vehicle back to home, how it is going to reflect even on the other person. For example, to press the bell of the flat and you found that it has taken a little more, a few seconds extra, more than normal. Your instant action, I won't say as of now response or reaction, that what do you keep doing? Every day I come in the evening at this time and I don't know, why do you take so much of time? Now, the person who opened the door, it could be the female spouse, for example, must have been surprised that what's wrong? I did not take that much of time. And the thoughts generated inside her would be that nowadays what's happening to him? He is trying to boss around too much, he's trying to dominate so much. And now something happened in the office, something you were all the time thinking while driving back, now you have transferred to the next person. This is how. And when she is cooking food, she forgot something to put, for example, salt, because something else is going on in the inner dialogue. So now, what would be your response or your action when you taste the food? What's happening nowadays? Every now and then you forget putting salt into the food every now and then, while it must have happened once in 2 years. So look at the situation and evaluate it. What is happening? It is all related somewhere else, not here, accumulation of physical facilities. And look at how much effort is going only on accumulation of physical facilities. So it is for you to decide. Now, friends, don't take it that we are trying to equate the human being with the animal. This is just, how do the animals behave? And there is a difference between human being and animal because both of them have life in them. We also breathe, they also breathe. They also have will to live, we also have will to live. We have will to live with continuous happiness and prosperity. Animals have will to live only. But if they feel threatened, their action we know, or they fight with us or hurt us when we try to hurt them. So they try, that is what, will to live is there. But in case of human being, the will to live is there, but will to live with continuous happiness and prosperity. So when an animal has the lack of facility, it becomes uncomfortable. And when it gets the physical facility, it becomes comfortable. Now, for example, a cow feels hungry. You put the grass or whatever bhusa in front of it, it feeds it, eats it, and feels satisfied. After that, you put anything in front of it. It will not take anything more than that. It will just refuse to accept. Okay, so a lion, for example, it kills its prey, and when its stomach is full, it feels satisfied, its need for its hunger is fulfilled, it leaves behind the remnant for jackals, for vultures, for other animals to feed themselves. For human being, this physical facility is required. It is necessary for animal, it is necessary for human being as well. Because if I feel hungry or I feel very bitter cold and I do not have clothes to protect my body, I become uncomfortable and unhappy. But once I get the required physical facility, I forget about it and start thinking about 100 other things. This 100 other things is not common with the animal. That's what is the basic difference. That's why we made the reference here for between the human being and animal. It is not that we are trying to equate, because if you really see the animals, if you see, most of the animals, they are either involved in eating, hunting for the food or eating. They sleep or they live in a state of fear, or they are engaged in reproduction. Generally, broadly, if you see most of the animals, they are engaged in one of these four activities. Human being is different. Human being is different. Now, check for yourself if you feel happy every day that you are getting enough to eat. That animal has no such planning or program that what I have for tomorrow or day after in store, as far as the physical facility is concerned, like food, clothes, shelter. Animal has got no concern about it. A lion, whenever feels hungry, kills its prey, hunts and kills its prey. In case of human being, if we have that I feel satisfied, I have got the food for today. That is why I start thinking 100 other things, what tomorrow, what day after. But this requirement also, if you evaluate, assess, is fairly limited in quantity. You just cannot say that I need in my 70, 80, 90 years of lifespan unlimited amount or quantity of food. It is still going to be limited. It is still going to be limited. That is what. So to find out what else is required over and above physical facility. Check, is there happiness in our families, physical facility, or more due to lack of fulfillment in relationship? This is for you to explore within. Answer may be with you already. So, to find out what else is required, once again, to explore how much time and effort we are investing for physical facility and for fulfillment in relationship. Look at it. When the two spouses have some argument, they stop talking to each other. What is the thought in both of them? It was not my mistake, so why should I break the ice first? Why should I start speaking first? In fact, many times some important communication has to take place, so the parents take the help of the children. So tell your mother I'm going to come very late, today. So don't keep the dinner for me. Likewise, while the other spouse also is listening. So what is happening? How much effort, energy, time we are investing in fulfillment of the relationship versus look at the accumulation for procurement of the facilities. While these facilities are limited, only thing we have to find out what is the limit for us. We have to establish the limit for us. We are not saying at any stage that they are not necessary. They are very much necessary. They are required, but they are required all in limited quantity, not in unlimited quantity. So, when we say work, talking about it, there are books and books written, so many bestsellers in the world have been written talking about the work-life balance. This is what it is. Above is the work, below is the life. What kind of relationship at workplace, in the family, in the society, the place you live, the other people you interact with. What kind of investment, energy and time we spend for fulfillment of mutual relationship. That is what is to be explored. So the unhappiness is more due to lack of fulfillment if you explore. Fulfillment in relationship, as most of the time and effort is spent on physical facility, you can see, while out of 24 hours a day, 8 hours, 5 days a week or 6 days a week is supposed to be most of us investing in acquiring the or earning the money to procure physical facility. But no surprise, you get sometimes the mail at 2 o'clock in the morning. So many mails come 1:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning from head of the department, from director, the WhatsApp messages, 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if the people start waking up in the Brahmurut nowadays and the day starts from there, or day is going to end there. We really don't know what is happening, and people are questioned sometimes. Many of you may be in leadership positions. You question that why my mail or why message was not seen. The message was sent at 1:30 in the morning, and in the morning 9 o'clock. So nowadays we are 24 hours on work. So where is the effort? Effort is basically to earn that money for acquisition of the physical facility. And we have accepted it as a norm for living. As a norm for living. Like there is a war on 24 hours. There is a war on 24 hours. This is how the investment of time, effort, and energy is being put in. And it is irrespective of gender, because both the genders are nowadays involved in jobs, in profession, in earning money to acquire physical facility. We earn money only to buy few things to fulfill our needs. Buy things means these things are all physical facilities. So what is compromised? That is the relationship. So when the amount of time spent by the parents with the children, so when the birthday comes, we provide the expensive physical facility in place of nurturing the relationship, because that involves spending time with the child. But that time is at premium because our focus is only to acquire physical facility, where both the spouses are serving state of children, their care of the grandparents fine. But when the tantrums are thrown, and why this uh, habit, or why say habit, addiction, more than me, you and the parents, the addiction of using the screen is with the child on the increase. If we spend 8 hours, 5 hours, or 6 hours on our screen time, the child's screen time is no lesser. This is how the life is moving forward with technology. So, for human being, physical facility is necessary, but relationship is referred to as harmony in living. Harmony in desired thought expectations in me will not be there. That is why physical facility is necessary, all right, but something more is required. Something more may not be required for the animal, but for a human being, because human being wants to live, but wants to live with continuous happiness and prosperity. And prosperity is physical facility, that feeling. But then happiness is harmony within, and that harmony is going to come only from feelings in relationship. I'll cover this. That is what is going to be a major part of my talk. Now, on examining carefully, we find that this is fundamental difference between animals and human beings, as I stated, and physical facility is necessary for animals, necessary for human beings also. But for animals, physical facility is necessary as well as adequate. It's more than sufficient. Other than that, the animal is not running around to acquire more. But for human beings, it is necessary. Physical facility is necessary, but not adequate. That is the feeling that I should have more. But how much more? If you keep this more open, it is something like filling a glass with no bottom. You keep pouring any amount of fluid into it, it will never get filled. So that when you say more, when you say it is inadequate, that you want more, how much more has to be known? Otherwise, one is going to remain forever in a state of deprivation. He is going to always live in a state of daridrata ka bhav. It will forever remain inadequate, means he is going to live in a state of deprivation with that kind of feeling. Because feeling is an important part which creates harmony within me. Harmony within me. And this is what makes me to live in that kind of state which is naturally acceptable to me. वो मेरे लिए सहज स्वीकार्य है. If there is a harmony with me, that is what is naturally acceptable, and I can live in that kind of state forever. And that is what is happiness. That is what is peace. This is what is satisfaction, or this is what is bliss. If I live inside me, irrespective of whatever is the environment outside, whatever are the situations taking place outside, but if I am able to maintain harmony within me, that is what is continued happiness. Physical facility are necessary, yes. I feel hungry, I need food. I feel thirsty, I need water. I feel cold, I need woolen clothes. If I'm feeling very warm weather, very sultry, if there is air conditioning available, yes, I would like to make my external skin comfortable. Physical facility is necessary. If I have to go and travel 200 kilometers, a vehicle, a car, a train, a bus, it's a necessity. Fine. Otherwise, I'll use too much of energy of my body to travel and it is going to take too much of time. Fine. So necessary, but not adequate means more are required. If more are required, we have to find out how much more. So just look at these three blocks. We've written 1, 2, 3. When we say how much more, this understanding, we are referring it as right understanding. How much more? More of what? More of physical facility or more of So that I have put two things, physical facility or relationship. So when I say the physical facility is mandatory, it is necessary. It is necessary. But it is not adequate for human being. Human being needs more than that. For example, it's a very warm weather, especially in area where I am sitting here in the NCR region. It's a very composite weather area, and during summertime, it's very sultry, very humid sometimes in month of July or so. Now, you're feeling, very uncomfortable walking from your block to the HOD's office or to the director's office, which is very chilled, because the excellent air conditioner is installed there. But so the instant you went inside, he asked you to sit down, you felt very relaxed because the temperature inside is just about 21, 22 degrees Celsius, while outside it was 42 degrees Celsius and you were sweating. You were comfortable. That is with the help of a physical facility. But the dialogue between the two, the director and you, see, you have got your subject result very poor of your students. Your students have failed this. I expected you to complete this task which was assigned to you about 2 months ago. And then he has got a list ready with him. What is happening? Are you in a state of harmony within because of this physical facility? Or something else is happening with due to this other human being? This was all right. That physical facility was there, you were very comfortable. He provided you a glass of water also, he provided you tea also. But the discussion needed much more than that. And that discussion created all kinds of agitating thoughts, all kinds of discomfort, opposition, or fear. These are not naturally acceptable. I don't want to live in a state of fear all the time. So these are the kind of things which are happening in me, which are not naturally acceptable to me. While if we are in relationship, there is a harmony relationship between me and my director, then the talk is going to be at a different level. Then there is the appreciation, there is a recognition of the work being carried out, or there may be some correction needed. So how this relationship between the two human beings in that office, the director and the faculty, is taking place. In spite of physical facility, you feel lack of happiness because there is no more harmony within you, or there may be harmony. So it means this is what is the governing area for the realization of the aspiration. Physical facility, yes, because this is related to prosperity. But this relationship is what related to create the harmony within newness. So when I interact with other human being, this is what gives me the mutual happiness. And this is what is the right understanding. And when I decide how much enough is enough for me, that provides me when I acquire that, this provides me the mutual prosperity. Okay, I move forward. So when I have been using this word harmony so often, many times, almost 30, 35 times I have used this word harmony, because this harmony is synonym to happiness, harmony in me. So what is this harmony? In fact, if we see holistically, the word holistically has been used, and the holistic development of society has been used in the new education policy. So what is this harmony? Harmony, what I am saying it is at the 4 levels. Harmony in human being, harmony in family, harmony in society, and harmony in nature and existence. These are the 4 levels. Now, to having the understanding of this harmony in the human being as an individual, the family, the society. Society is a larger group of families. And then nature and entire existence, Prakriti and Brahma. So the understanding harmony at these four levels, friends, that is what is education. Understanding harmony at each of these four levels is education. And when I live with that understanding, that becomes sanskar. So there is a difference between shiksha and sanskar. Let's understand with clarity. Many times we use shiksha sanskar, or sometimes we say आजकल के स्टूडेंट्स में संस्कारों की बहुत कमी है. They lack the values completely. In fact, sanskar is living that education. Education is all around. Education is merely the content. Merely the content. For example, a 4-year or 5-year-old child in the family is being seen all the time that his father in the morning touches the feet of grandfather, who pays respect. And this is the way to express that feeling of respect. They touch in the morning, pranam pitaji, or touch feet. The child has been seen, and child has been educated that always respect elders, and whenever they visit house, or for that matter inside house, touch their feet to express the feeling of respect to them. Now, when child has been seeing it and being told repeatedly, one day a visitor comes, an elderly visitor comes, and the instant the door is opened and this child sees this visitor, he doesn't recognize him. He goes and touches this person's feet because he has been educated. He has been informed that it is required to express the feeling of respect to the elders. Now, when he does that, what will be the response from the visitor? बच्चे को आपने बहुत अच्छे संस्कार दिए हैं. संस्कार दिए हैं. In fact, why this sanskar word is being used? Because merely saying that respect the elders is education. But when the child has started living this education, that is sanskar. So that is why what is stated here, understanding harmony at the four levels is education, and living that harmony, living with that understanding is sanskar. Well, the issue is today that majority of our time, effort, and energy is invested only and only towards physical facility. More and more physical facility, accumulation of more and more physical facility. We have no time to think how much is necessary for me. How much is necessary for me? And it is for all the human beings, or majority of the human beings. We are not able to even evaluate and assess how much more is enough for me. Because if this limit is not known to me, I will forever be running to accumulate more and continuously keep living with a feeling of deprivation. And I will keep exploiting either the nature or the other people. Like in the NCR region, a couple of years back, there was an engineer who got upgraded in this Noida authority to full engineer. He had some 900 odd flats. So I don't know how many, where is the limit? A particular house having 15 bedrooms or 10 bedrooms. The people in our country have the 40 bedrooms also in their houses. I don't know if you, particular night you want to sleep in each one of them, you will keep running throughout night in place of sleeping. So how much is enough for me? You have to have the clarity of it. And if you have that clarity and you still have the capacity to acquire more, that can be shared. In our country, just about 8 months ago or 9 months ago, when the lockdown due to the COVID situation was imposed, We could see lakhs and lakhs of the migrant workers, laborers moving on the road, hungry. All of you have seen those video clips on your news channels. Me, how many billionaires of this country we boast, they came forward to look after them. A very large number of very small, people who had the businesses, the tea stall type, they provided and they supported. And majority, very large population or part of these migrant laborers, they moved from what we claim to be the wealth capital of our nation, the Mumbai. And it houses maximum number of billionaires in our country. And we boast about them. How many of them came forward? Many of them have so much of wealth, they can feed the population of entire world, 700 plus crores for decades. So when you have the feeling that I have enough, then if you have nothing wrong, produce. So far as you are not destroying the nature, if it is sustainable, produce, nobody is stopping. But then it is meant to be shared then, because that relationship, if there is a question there, so when you see all around people hungry outside your Bangalore, ask yourself whether are you feeling the feeling of pride or feeling of related, being related. So in one of the workshop, I was told that look at the Maslow's hierarchy. It said the physical facility is the first, but you are saying the relationship should be the higher priority than the physical facility. So we just give the simple example that, for example, in a room there are two people and they are unknown, not related. They have no relationship whatsoever with each other. Now, after some time, both of them are feeling hungry. The situation is such that very limited quantity of food, barely sufficient only for one person, is being made available to that room. Now, the question is who gets the meal? So if you explore, the answer immediately comes that stronger the person gets the meal. But if I ask a simple question, if these two beings inside this room happen to be the mother and child, then who gets the meal? There will be very prompt response from each one of you. It means both of them had the need, physical need, but relationship overrided for fulfilling that physical need. So if the relation, like if the two occupants would have been the friends, they will share. But if they are unknown, the stronger will take it. And let me tell you, in month of August or so, there was floods in our country. So I was just viewing a news, and I could see the Air Force Mi-17 helicopters were being used to drop the food packets. So as the helicopter was moving at the altitude, the people, a herd of people of 100 or 150, they were all following the helicopters to pick up the food packets. I could see, or many of you could have seen, that some people, the strong people, the instant the food packet was being dropped, they were climbing on top of the other crowd members and picking up this food packet in the air and then running away. No feeling of relationship. But if a person who got the packet, he found, he gave to a small group of people, these people may have his family members also. But then a passersby also he invited. And he didn't touch his, till the time everybody was served. Only after that, whatever was left, he took. That is the relationship. So when the relationship is there, you share. When it is missing, then the focus is only here. And this is what is animal consciousness. So if the focus is all the time here and this is what becomes the highest priority, then unhappiness and deprivation, exploitation of nature continues to take place. And if we go this way, this is what is human consciousness. And this is what is animal consciousness. We are not equating, we are just trying to make it understand that once we are born as human being, let's not live with animal consciousness. Now, what is the role of the education? Role of the education is transformation from this consciousness to the human consciousness. And this is what is termed as holistic development. This is what is termed as holistic development, where people live in a state of harmony with themselves, in their family, in the society, and in harmony with the nature. That is the state we want to be, where among the people there is a mutual happiness. Because if we explore, we find that each one of us is similar to each other. Each one of us is interdependent, interrelated, and mutually fulfilling. Many of you may think this is rubbish. But explore yourself. The other day, last year, I'm referring to one scene that I was returning back, from the Moradabad side on this NH24. I found one swift desire. A lot of work was going on before this Plakwa place, because broadening of NH24 is taking place. So a lot of work was going on. One swift desire had turned turtle, because the roadside, the one wheel went off the road and it just toppled. Many vehicles, many means numerous, the passers-by, the motorcyclists, the car people, they stopped. And only with the help of brute force, manually, they turned it other sides. And it so happened that the vehicle was squeezed in such a manner that none of the four doors could be opened. It had three occupants, one little child, and probably the husband, wife. So people broke the front windscreen and pulled all of them out. Now, those people who ran to help these three human beings, were they related? Did they ask for the reason of the other person or the status? It was a spontaneous response, because this is what is naturally acceptable to all of us. If I happen to be meeting with an accident and they're lying on the roadside profusely bleeding, I also expect the other passersby to come to my help. Forget about those who are busy in videoing through their mobile and sending it to some news channel. Leave aside them. They live with a lot of lack of understanding. But then majority of the people, they rush for my help. They are not related to me. They're all unknown. I don't know their profession. I don't know their philosophy of living. I don't know their ideology. I don't know their religion. And all genders, they help. This is what can be explored by each one of us to establish that we are interrelated. You happen to go a little late to board a particular train, and you happen to see the coach in front of you is your coach only, as the train is just sliding. So you just rushed inside. But when you reach inside, you find that there is no single other person, and it's already 10:45 in the night. So you can occupy any of the berth in place of your reserved berth and go to sleep. In fact, you will not get the sleep. In all probability, you will wait for next station to come, get down on the platform and to peep into other coaches and see, are there human beings there or not? This is what is relationship, which is so naturally acceptable to us. Okay. Well, so this transformation, this is the role of the education from the animal consciousness to the human consciousness, where the human beings understand the harmony at four levels: harmony at the level of self and individual, harmony at the level of family, the larger group of family, that is society, and harmony at the level of nature and existence, and living with that harmony, living with that education. That is what is transformation process. Now, coming to very basic, because when we say in relationship, this word being used is not what it generally referred to. So there is a need to explain when we say that relationship is more important to maintain harmony, that is to maintain happiness in one's life, to realize its aspiration. In that case, we need to understand the meaning of this relationship. So to understand that, let me just open up a very important proposal for you to explore. I say the human being is the coexistence of, or I propose that human being is the coexistence of self and body, two realities, two identities. One is body, which we all can see it, we all can feel it, we are familiar with it, and self. These are coexisting. These two realities, they coexist with each other to make me define as a human being. And if it is proposed, why it is being proposed? Because we can just see the need of the two realities or two units. The body's need is the food, thirst, water, clothes. These are the needs of the body. Need of the self is happiness, is harmony. And harmony is what? Being in relationship. And relationship means living with feelings. Feelings like trust, respect, affection, care, guidance, reverence, glory. With these kind of feelings, this is what gives me the harmony within. That is happiness. So that is the need of the self. Now, if we see on the axis of time, the needs of the body are pretty temporary. I feel hungry, I consume food. I stop eating food. I feel thirsty, I pick up a glass of water. I feel satisfied. When I feel tired, body takes rest, but it doesn't keep sleeping. So it comes and goes. Now, if you see, you start going from place A to B. When you reach to place B, you stop. Every single activity or the need of the body is temporary. While when we say happiness, is it required that, can you ever explore that Monday and Tuesday is fine, but Wednesday unhappiness is acceptable to me? Or any particular day, 50-50 is okay. Now, many people give the argument that you cut the slice anything, it is bound to have the two sides. So happiness and unhappiness are two sides of the same coin. So it is okay for me. Is it naturally acceptable to any one of us to live in a state of unhappiness? Is it naturally acceptable? That is the question to be explored. Then we find that to be in a state of happiness is a continuous need of the self. When I say myself, so the self is myself. The self is in inverted comma. I'm not saying my body, I'm saying myself. So I myself want to feel happy in continuity. So it means in the feelings of relationship like respect, affection, care, guidance, glory, love, all these feelings I want to have in continuity in me. That is what is important to be explored, can be seen. Now, looking at the quantity, in case of need of the body, somebody may take 4 chapatis, somebody may take 2 chapatis, somebody may take in a day 3 liters of water, 2.5 liters of water, somebody may take, may use n number of shirts, other may use n plus delta n number of shirts. But these are all quantifiable. They're all quantified, and these quantities are limited only. While in case of, if you look at the self side, it is not qualitative. We don't say half liter of respect, 1 kg of love, or so many meters of respect, or trust, or care. So nothing can be quantified as far as the need of the self is concerned. While in case of body, everything can be quantified and this quantity is limited. Now, how these needs are fulfilled of these two units, body and the self? The body's need, we all know, physiochemical things. Food is a physiochemical thing, water is a physiochemical thing. Look at the cloth, the shelter, the vehicles, the laptop you have, the printer you have, the tools, gadgets you have, the furniture or whatever you see as the physical facility, this is a physiochemical thing. But when it boils down to the self, it can be fulfilled only and only by right understanding and right feelings. So let's quickly see the activities of the two. The body's activity, we are so much familiar: eating, walking, talking, sleeping. These are all activities of the body. And on the axis of time, they are temporary. You undertake an activity, you complete it, you move to other activity. There is nothing we do continuously. For that matter, if you see the activity of the body does, if there are two activities taking place, you inhale, you stop. You exhale, then you stop. You inhale again. So there is explore and try to find out, is there any activity which is continuously taking place or undertaken by the body? It means these are temporary. But they now look at what are the activities taking place in the self, and let's explore what is their state on the axis of time. So desire, thought, expectations are all the time take place in this self, which coexist with the body. Desire, thought, expectations are all the time taking place. At different point of time, you may have different desire, but the activity of desiring goes on. The thought, from time A to time B, the thoughts may be different, but the process, the activity of thinking is continuously there. So is the expectations. These are all the time going on. You try to find out of the day, or for that matter night, or for that matter the sleep. You may not be aware. Even look at analyze the dreams. You close your eyes even during the daytime, just for 3 to 4 minutes. You will wander around large number of activities have taken place involving very large number of human beings, very large number of places, and at different timing of incidents you will see in just 2 to 3 minutes when you close your eyes even during the daytime. Look at the dreams, what is happening. All disconnected people, disconnected events of different time spans. That is how they take place. So this activity in the self or desire, thought, expectations are all the time taking place. They are continuously taking place. And then the last is the response, which is very important to understand. So if we understand this, a lot of clarity will come. Response is recognizing and fulfilling. And response of the self is knowing, assuming, recognizing, fulfilling. I will dwell upon it for a couple of minutes to make you understand. Because if we understand this, then we can understand all the time that we are moving as two separate identities which are coexisting with each other, and the relationship is between the self of one person to the self of other person. Body is only a medium to express it. Okay, so response, recognizing and fulfilling, पहचानना और निर्वाह करना. Take an example. You take food. What happens inside? There is a process starts. So it recognizes, the body recognizes the food and acts in a particular way. Now you take water. Body acts in a different way, but definite way. You consume alcohol. The body acts in a different way, but in a definite way. It means it recognizes and it fulfills accordingly. Now, I give an example. 1 liter of water and 50 grams of color dye powder. You mix it in that water. A particular color comes up. Now, you put this 50 grams of color dye into this 1 liter water, maintaining all other physical conditions the same, the outcome comes the same. It means this water and color dye, they recognize each other and fulfill in a definite manner. Body also does the same thing. You eat food, it follows a particular process. You take water, it follows a particular process. So any interaction with the body, you pierce it with a sharp object, like a needle. The blood comes out. Every time it will happen. So it recognizes and fulfills. So interaction of the body with another material, physiochemical thing like food, is the definite. Like this needle being pierced through the body, blood coming out, every time it is going to take place. So this fulfilling is this response, and this is an indicator that any two material when they interact, the outcome is definite. You put a piece of iron outside in a moist environment where the humidity is high, it will start getting corroded. Oxidation will take place of its surface. Every time it will happen the same way if the condition is the same. It means one material to the other material, they recognize and they fulfill in that particular fashion. It recognizes and it fulfills. It means we can infer from here the body is a material because it follows a very definite outcome, a very definite response whenever it recognizes the same thing. You take that food with too much of masala and mirchi, it will respond in a different manner. You take leafy vegetable, it responds in a different manner, but every time you take it is going to behave in the same fashion, definiteness. And this is what happens when the two materials interact with each other. Any two chemicals you mix, the outcome, the response is going to be the same every time. It means body is a material, it can be inferred from here. Now, let us see the other side. Fulfillment is dependent upon assumption. Assumption. Now, I gave the example for body, you pierce a needle. Now, if this assumption is the other person is going to harm me, it means I will try to defend and protect my body from it. Because I have assumed this is going to hurt me. But for example, the body has fallen out of harmony and it is sick, and this happens to be the needle of a doctor which is going to inject the medicine inside the body. I will permit it. So now I assume that this piercing into my body with the needle is being done for its benefit. It means the recognition and fulfillment in the self is dependent upon assumption. And this is what, look at the activities. Desire, thought, and expectations are based upon assumptions. Like, if my child gets admission in such and such school, lot of crowd, competition is there even for a nursery admission nowadays, his life is going to be made. This is an assumption. It may not be the reality. It's an assumption. Grown-up parents, my child cracks the entrance examination of JEE and gets into a desired branch in IIT, his life is made. It's an assumption. But if you assess and evaluate and explore that every single engineering graduate from IITs, had they been living in a state of continuous happiness and prosperity? It means the self, when it works on assumptions, its recognition and fulfillment changes when the assumption changes. But if the assumption, now there is one more thing here, knowing. This potential is only in human race. Friends, the human race is most superior living being. Animal, they have up to assumptions. They also, certain level of assumption is there. Certain level. A family buys, a small pup, baby dog, and that baby dog is addressed with a particular name. So it starts recognizing that whenever this sound is made, I am provided food, for example. So it starts assuming that whenever this sound is made, this sound is for me. That assumption takes place in the animal. But human being has the potential of knowing, potential of understanding. This is why we call the human race as the Jnana Avastha, because it has the ability to see the reality as it is. And this is what it can analyze, it can evaluate, it can assess correctly, it can understand correctly, and it can live happily. So when we say the knowing, assuming, recognizing, and fulfilling, the recognition and fulfillment of the body is definite. The recognition and fulfillment in the self on the other side is based upon knowing and assuming. If the assumption is based on knowing, then the assumption is right, and recognition and fulfillment will lead to a definite conduct. But if the assumption is without knowing, then it will be right, may be wrong. And fulfillment is uncertain. And this indefinite and uncertain conduct is the issue. Today, when we leave our houses, why do we put the lock? Why do we secure so much? We put the wooden door, then we lock the chor tala, and then we put another lock on the steel door. Why? No animal is going to come there. Because the other human being's conduct is not definite. If this definiteness would have been there, then there was no need to put that lock there. Well, so we understood that human being is coexistence of self and body. And mind you, I'll just put one more point. I think I have 20 to 25 minutes left with me. So the human being is combination of a coexistence of body and self. Body is material, self is consciousness. Because their things are taking place based upon knowing or assumption. Recognition and fulfillment all the time varying, and the continuity of desire, thought, expectation is there. Now, definiteness of conduct takes place in the body without any issue because it's a material. But in case of self, it is only going to be when it is based upon knowing. And knowing is understanding. Understanding is understanding harmony at the 4 levels. Otherwise, any situation taking place outside me, whether pleasant, unpleasant, is going to create all kinds of responses within me. Sometimes I will be in harmony, sometimes I will not be in harmony, sometimes I will be excited, sometimes I will not be excited. So, to have the definiteness there, I have to have the clarity of this understanding of harmony at different levels. Well, if that is clear to me, then let me just say this coexistence does not mean that lives in another. No, they coexist. Because when the body is the material, any part of the material is going to be the material only. Any subset of a set is going to have the same characteristics. But consciousness is the self is the consciousness. So consciousness cannot be the subset of the body. It coexists with it. It coexists with it. Well, now, when I say relationship, the need of the self is relationship between the self of one person to the self of the other person. That is what is relationship. And this acquires higher priority if I have the understanding of harmony. If I have to realize the feeling of happiness and prosperity, lead my life with continuous happiness and prosperity, I have to understand this relationship. And relationship is between the self of one person to the self of other person. It is not between the two materials. The body is used only to express these feelings. Relationship is feeling, and these feelings can be identified, and this is what can be asked from the questions. Feeling of trust. What is naturally acceptable to me? These are the 9 feelings which are naturally acceptable to me in relationship. The trust, respect, affection, care, guidance, reverence, glory, gratitude, and love. So, well, from here, let me take you to the later part. Now, when we say the relationship of mutual fulfillment, if we see all the units or all the things, starting from a small speck of human hair to the galaxies in the existence, they all can be divided into 4 orders. The physical order, like soil, metal, etc. Bio order, like plants, trees. The animal order, where the animals are there, the sea animals are there, birds are there, and the human order. So if you see the relationship in these orders, the physical order is fulfilling to the bio order, and bio order is fulfilling to physical order. And so is the case with bio order to animal order. The physical order is fulfilling the needs of the human order also. The food is provided, like somebody saying that I am self-made. I'm sorry. Look at the food you have been consuming. Somebody used the soil, produced that food, it was processed and then came to you in the form of a food. Look at the clothes we wear to protect our body. That cotton was produced in the field, it was processed, converted into thread somewhere, then it was taken into textile mills. Somebody created those machines, and then it was, in the form of a cloth taken to a tailor shop. Then that's how it moved to a place where from I bought it. Likewise, you see anything. It is not only my parents who looked after me in the childhood or paid the fees, the teachers, the gamut of things, anything you use for your existence, then you will realize that I exist because of this coexistence only. It is so many people have contributed. The biohydra has contributed. Plants, trees have contributed to me. The soil, air, wherever you are sitting, if that air is withdrawn, the room is hermetically sealed and air is withdrawn just for 3 minutes or 4 minutes, what is going to happen? This coexistence of your body and self. So this air is coming from where? From physical order. And look at it, how do we nurture it? What we give back to these 3 orders? That is what is the questionable thing. So human beings have natural acceptance to be mutually fulfilling. All right, I love to do that, but I don't do it. Any kind of production I do, when we say sustainable, this question mark is required to be changed into tick mark. That nature is collection of these units, and this is how it should be supported. That physical order, it has everything to provide to plant order, animal order, human order. The plant order has everything sufficient for animal order and human order to support. And human order is there to make use of physical order, plant order, animal order. Enough is there. But how much do we give back to nurture these, to sustain these? In this NCR, every year for a month or two, the children and the elders are advised not to step out of the houses because the toxic level of the air has gone so high. In 1976, I went to Bangalore to join my first job. It was Kerala KK Express, Kerala Karnataka Express, which took 50 hours to travel. At least 14 railway stations I got down to drink water only from the hand pumps. I lived up to 13 years of age in a village where I drank the water from the well. I can't imagine today. Nature has not done it. We have done it. So giving back to the animal order, in my childhood when I used to go to the mountain side, there used to be boards, beware of the animals. And when you go today to the mountainous terrains, hill stations, what is written? Save animals, don't hurt them, don't disturb them. This is what we are giving. Okay. And plant order, half of the jungles we have destroyed, while this oxygen, which is so necessary for every single breath we take in, is not being produced in a particular company. And believe me, in my childhood, I never saw the water bottle being taken. So every child today, each one of us, while leaving home, we carry a water bottle. And if we do not understand way of developing our skills, if they are not value guided, and we do not take the U-turn, it's a matter of a decade or two that we will be carrying one more bottle, that is the oxygen bottle, for our movement outside, or for that matter, even in houses. So this is how the survival of human order is dependent on all the three orders. Then why are we not reciprocating? Why are we not resorting to that kind of situation where it is sustainable? So the role of education sanskar is to enable this transformation to this understanding, and this is what is basically that physical order, bio order, animal order. All the four orders have to live in mutual relationship. Now, what is this fulfillment? To understand mutual fulfillment is inherent in nature itself. We don't plant jungles. Automatically the cycle is there. Only thing we have to just live accordingly. And to understand that this harmony, the skills used to produce physical facilities must be value guided, and value guided means they should be the means, the methods of production should be sustainable to all the four orders so that they remain mutually fulfilled, leading to mutual prosperity. Okay. So with this, I come to the end. I rushed through some of the points in between I did not cover due to the paucity of time, but now I am open to questions. Any question? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Huh. So any questions on anything?
So, thank you very much, sir. Sir, your session was very informative and very meaningful to a human society, as well as led to how to create sustainability. And I request all the participants to share their queries, if any.
Let me see. Any question is welcome.
Sir, I guess no one is having any doubt regarding your session. It was so motivating. So I thank you once again on behalf of Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, GL Bajaj Institute of Technology and Management.
That's sir.
Participants, a link has been shared in the chat box, and kindly follow the link and complete the feedback. And we'll meet again at 2:30.